One of the best ways to make sure your collaboration stays on task is through the use of a PLC planning guide. Let's take a look at how two teachers use the guide to reflect and inform their future instruction. Computer, boop, 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 boop.
Last meeting, we were preparing for our summative assessment. We focused on 5 reading literature standards.
Let's see how our kiddos did with the first one.
My students showed a lot of growth on this standard. They went from 40% mastery on the pre-assessment to over 80% on the post-assessment.
Wow, way to go. I thought my students would do well on this standard, but they didn't make the connection between the picture and the mood. Wow, it looks like your students really made a lot of growth. What activities did you use that helped them grow?
This is a thriving PLC because of the trust the teachers have with one another. Notice that there's no judgment and no discomfort with asking for help. Teachers celebrate each other's successes because they will benefit from each other's ideas. They also know how to ask for help.
So here's what the turning point was for my students. For one lesson, I had them imagine the expressions of the characters if their faces weren't visible. Then I asked them to explain why they would have those facial expressions, so that got us talking about mood.
You were getting them to empathize by looking at the illustrations alongside the narrative. What a good idea.
Yeah, I'll definitely do it next time, but might even introduce it a little bit earlier.
And I'm going to add that to my list of improvements that I can make.
Notice how this conversation is benefiting both teachers. One teacher will adopt a strategy that's been proven to work. The other is not only reviewing her successful activity, she's improving it by committing to do it earlier in the year. In both cases, their students win.
Do you have a printout that I can use to help us through the illustrations?
I do. Here, we'll put it in this last column, and I just copied the link for you.
Wow, great, you rock. I'm so glad we get to collaborate. Now, let's look at the next standard. I had much more success getting the students to compare and contrast themes.
Oh good, I'd really like your input.
By using the PLC planning guide, these two teachers were able to determine specific activities and teaching methods that were proven effective. This led to some much needed reflection and reevaluation. In the end, both teachers were able to benefit from focused PLC planning.